Welcome to Over the Vest Nurseries, where we're growing lots of really good outdoor garden plants, ones that have been especially selected for their performance in our region. That's the Northeast and Mid-Atlantic zones of the USA. And if you'd like to find out more about them, can I suggest that you click and subscribe to this channel, and then you'll be able to be first in line for all the videos as we produce them. The idea of filming these videos in the nursery is to bring you lots of good practical information, but also hopefully help you discover some really good plants that you should think about growing in your garden. Take for example this wonderful variety of Rose of Sharon, or Altheas as it's sometimes known. This is a Hibiscus sugar tip. Now this plant is really exciting because first of all, as you see, it produces lots of these beautiful double pink flowers that it carries in profusion all the way through the summertime and into the earlier part of the autumn. If you look at this plant here, you'll see that it is quite literally loaded with lots of buds, which means that it will keep on flowering for a really good time. The neat thing, of course, about Altheas are that they love to grow in our region. They're hardy to zone 5 and also love to grow in a sunny, warm conditions. And that means that the conditions that we have here in our region are perfect for them, and that's why you see them growing so well in older neighborhoods. But the difference with this one is that as well as producing these flowers that brighten up things considerably and bring in pollinating insects and butterflies and hummingbirds, in addition to all of that, you also get this fabulous variegated foliage. So here's a plant that gives you beautiful variegated foliage and lovely flowers, and therefore really pays its rent. It's a plant that will get to about 8 to 12 foot high by about 6 or 8 foot wide, and really is a remarkably good hardy to zone 5 growing plant that'll put on a terrific performance. Just planted in a sunny or partially shaded site, though I have to say it really does better in a sunny condition. And what's important is that you plant it in an average free draining soil. It's remarkably tolerant of different soil conditions, but because all of these flowers are produced on growth that's made during the current year, it's pretty important that you keep it growing nice and strongly. That means that when you plant it, you dig a good sized hole, you put in lots of organic matter, you water it well until it gets established, probably mulch the ground too so that you're able to get it growing away nice and strongly. And then in springtime, in the early part of the spring, maybe give it a dressing of a general based fertilizer, anything that will certainly encourage lots of fresh young growth, because it's on that growth that you get all of these flower buds. The more flower buds, of course, the more flowers you're going to get. Now, a little trick that we do here is to go through and trim them in the earlier part of the spring. That means that when you do that, you're encouraging lots of young fresh growth, and that in turn of course also leads to even more flower buds. If you don't feel like pruning them, that's okay. They'll still grow and flower very nicely, but you'll be able to encourage even more flowers and lots of this beautiful variegated foliage if you do that. What's interesting about this particular selection is that it turned up in a garden in Independence, Missouri. Sharon Gelt noticed that her plant of Hibiscus Lady Stanley, which is a very good double-flowered pink variety, suddenly had this variegated foliage, and it's from that we've got all of these beautiful plants that now you can enjoy growing in your garden too. So in conclusion, an absolutely gorgeous flowering shrub that gives you long-lasting flowers and beautiful variegation that's remarkably stable, We've never really noticed any reversion on this shrub, which is saying something, because a lot of variegated plants do tend to revert quite a lot. And in addition to that, a plant that's remarkably heat tolerant and will put up with salt in the ground too if it needs to be. A really great performing, really beautiful, easy to grow shrub from Proven Winners. This is Hibiscus sugar tip.